Hello guys, it's Ramos here bringing you the Kayn champion spotlight. He was just released on the VB and we're going to take a look at his abilities, at his emotes and at his skin. He's a very interesting champion, having three forms: the basic one that turns him into an assassin and one that turns him into the fighter Darken. First, let's take a look at his emotes, his recall and his release skin. His skin is Soul Hunter Kayn and it's 1350 riot points. Of course, it also has three forms and all of them modify his looks and his abilities a little bit, making him a greeny Darkin. Now for his abilities. His passive is the most interesting thing. When you damage ranged champions, you build up to turn into the Shadow Assassin, and when you damage melee champions, you build up to turn into the Darkin, collecting their essence, and when you fill the circle, you will be able to turn into one form or the another, according to how much damage you dealt to a melee champion or to ranged champions. Each form will modify some of his abilities, and if you modify to the Darkin, you will heal for a percentage of the spell damage you dealt to champions. And if you transform into the Shadow Assassin, for the first few seconds in combat with enemy champions, you deal bonus damage. His Q is a dash that dashes forward to strike nearby enemies and it damages everyone around, and both the dash and the strike deal some physical damage. And if you turn into the Darkin, you also deal a percentage of the target's maximum health instead. His W, Blade's Reach. This deals physical damage and slows enemies by 60%, that also decays over time, and this is transformed by both of the forms. If you are in the Darkin, it also applies a knock-up, and if you turn into the Assassin, you gain extra range and the ability to move during Blade's Reach because a shadow will cast it instead of you. His Z, Shadow Steps, gives him movement speed and the ability to walk through terrain for a few seconds, and if you hit the first terrain, you will also be healed and the duration will be extended by 9 seconds. And if you turn into the Shadow Assassin, you will have more movement speed and you will have slow immunity. The maximum duration if you are in combat with an enemy champion is only 1.5 seconds, and if you are immobilized, the effect ends. You can also use it nicely to dodge turrets or to run away from the Baron Pit or the Dragon Pit, and if you are in the middle of the terrain when it ends, it will get you to the closest exit. More on the forms a little bit later. And his ultimate, Umbral Trespass, infects an enemy champion that has been recently damaged by him, and you become untargetable for 2.5 seconds. You can reactivate this early to activate the ability, and when it ends, the target takes quite a lot of physical damage, and if you are the Shadow Assassin, you have extra range for this, and you also refresh the passive that you get when you're on the Shadow Assassin, that one that deals more damage to an enemy for the first few seconds, and if you turn into the Darkin, it deals % maximum health damage and heals for a percentage of the target's maximum health. And the Darkin's passive also heals him. Now let's turn into the Darkin to see the modified abilities. Note that if you already max out either the Darkin or the Shadow Assassin, the circle, you cannot max out the second one, so you cannot choose between the two at any given time unless you wait for that countdown to end. And if you transform into one form, you cannot change back to the basic one or to the other one for that game. So be careful what you pick. So once you turn to the Darkin, you gain the new healing passive that heals you for spell damage dealt. The Q deals more damage, also based on the target's maximum health. His W applies the knock-up. The E is the same. And the ultimate also deals bonus damage based on their max health, and he heals for 28% of the target's maximum health. And your name is changed to Ras, because that's the demon inside his weapon, which means obey. And if you attack ranged champions and kill many enough, you will gain those blue souls, and you will be able to transform into the Shadow Assassin. And like I said, you cannot gain stacks for both of them. If you have one maxed out, you cannot gain for the other one unless you wait for that time to end. You can gain stacks for both of them if one of them is not maxed out, but the first one that gets enough points will be the one maxed out.
I have snuffed out the Darken. Who dare stand against me? This is the part where you run.
So, once you turn into the assassin, you gain that new passive that deals bonus damage for the first few seconds to the enemy that you hit as bonus magic damage. His Q remains the same, this doesn't affect his Q. His W leaves the shadow behind that deals the attack in his stead. You gain more movement speed with the E and also slow immunity while looking through the walls. And his ultimate has increased range and resets the cooldown of his passive on the target after using it. And that's it for Kayn and Rust. Let me know what you think. I think it's a pretty amazing champion. I really like his design and his abilities and how he looks. He's a jungler, of course, and we're going to see more of him. Let me know what you think about him. Leave a like, comment and subscribe if you're new here. And thanks for watching, and I will see you soon.